Good afternoon. My name is Brother Kwame Dow, 34th District Representative of the massive and progressive 12th District. On behalf of all the brothers here in the 12th, I'd like to welcome you to our International Candidates Forum. I want to congratulate each one of you in advance for stepping out and wanting to serve Omega on the international level. We, the brothers in the 12th, are looking forward to hearing your platform as it relates to your respective positions. This will be the first opportunity of what I hope to be many over the next year for you to share your hopes and dreams and visions for Omega. Today, you are in very capable hands with our Rules Committee Chairman, Brother Reggie Bufkin, who will serve as your moderator. So again, congratulations. We look forward to hearing from you today. Brother Bufkin, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brother DR. And welcome to the brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. And a very special welcome to our candidates for grand office. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us. My name is Brother Reggie Bufkin, and I'm the 12th District Rules Committee Chairman. The 12th District has a long history of providing its brotherhood with the best and freshest information available, and today will be no exception. So before we get started, what I'd like to do is take a moment just to lay out what the ground rules are for this event, for the forum. Okay, next slide, please. We're going to work this by the office, by the specific office the candidates are running for. So we're going to start with one particular office, and all of the candidates who are running for that particular office will have an opportunity to make a platform statement. Now, candidates, we're asking that you would limit your platform statement to 2 minutes. We're going to have Brother Tim Mullins from the Nominations Time and Place Committee, who's going to be our timekeeper. He's going to keep everybody on task today. All right, so the candidates will make their 2-minute platform statement. Next screen, please. Immediately following the platform statements from all of the candidates for a particular office, we're going to open up the floor to the brotherhood to ask questions of the candidates. Now, brothers, we're going to ask you to raise your virtual hand, and Brother Carlos Barlow from the Nominations Time and Place Committee, he is going to be going through the hands, and he will be pointing out which ones have questions. And then what we'd like for you to do, once we recognize you, if you have a question, we would like for you to state your name and your chapter and to which candidate that you would like your question directed to. Once you do that, we'll give the floor to you. Okay, we'll have the floor, then the candidate will be able to respond to that question. Now, candidates, we're asking that you would limit your responses to 1 minute. And brothers, we're asking you that you would not have any compound questions or any of those type of questions where this is toward all candidates. We want to give everybody the opportunity to ask a question. Next slide, please. Immediately following the Q&A segment, we're going to let the candidates, again, who are running for that particular office, we're going to allow them to make a closing statement. Now, candidates, that closing statement, you can do several things with it. You can either restate your original platform statement, you can add something to it, or you may want to use that time to address an issue that was brought up by another one of the candidates. Either way, we would like for you to limit your response to 1 minute. Okay, again, please be mindful of the time. So now, with that said, without any further ado, let's begin. We're going to start with the office of Grand Counselor. And for the office of Grand Counselor, we have 4 candidates for that particular office. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with Brother Rob Warren. And for that, we're going to get his information up on the screen, please. All right, Brother Warren, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Greetings, brothers, Brother Dow, Brother DR Dow, and brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. My name is Brother Robert C. Warren Jr., informally known as Rob, 1180 Alpha Chapter, currently in Alpha Omega Chapter. I come to you seeking your support as I run for the office of Grand Counselor. I'm a practicing attorney for 35 years in Washington, D.C. in the public sector of District of Columbia government. I've served in a variety of capacities, both as a line attorney and management. My background currently is in public assistance fraud, risk management, personnel, labor relations and employment law, contracts and procurement, and administrative law. As an attorney, I've managed as few as 3 and as many as 200 staff. Obviously initiated an Alpha chapter, served as Alpha chapter bossless, served as Alpha Omega chapter bossless when it was the largest chapter in the fraternity. I'm a 12-term district council in the 3rd district, and I had the honor and privilege of serving as the 27th 3rd district representative. Presently, I was asked by Brother Grand Marion to serve as the vice chairman of the International Risk Management Committee. I'm also the International Deputy Inspector General and an assistant to Brother Grand Counsel Benjamin Crump. In these roles, I'm currently doing a lot of the things that a Grand Counsel would do, advising the Grand Bossless, the Executive Director, Supreme Counsel, individual district representatives on various legal issues, reviewing contracts for international meetings, reviewing vendor contracts for international headquarters, spearheading and participating in investigations, and also working with former Grand Counsel Michael Lyles and former Grand Bossless and former Grand Counselor Lloyd Jordan on establishing Omega's captive insurance program, Pan Global Limited. Brothers, if you see fit to elect me as your Grand Counsel, I'll continue to do the same things that I'm doing now, provide experienced and balanced legal counsel to the Grand Bossless, Supreme Council, international headquarters, and all of our stakeholders. I will continue to train and educate our brothers on the special events checklist process and also other risk management mitigation issues. I'm not afraid to give unpopular advice, but I'll always work towards a solution. I will relentlessly go after any individual or entity, external or internal, who seeks to do harm to Idea Omega. And on this, I will give no quarter. I remain accessible, available, and responsive to all of Omega stakeholders. Most importantly, brothers, I will always put Omega first in all that I do. And I'll close with this, brothers. You know, this is the NBA draft season, and rookies and players come with combine film, and they have statistics from college. There's nothing that proves better than game film. Brothers, I'm already in the game, and I'm asking for your support to help me continue to serve you in this capacity. I yield back my time, Brother Bufkin and Brother DR.
Thank you very much, Brother Warren, for that great statement, my fellow Bison. Appreciate that.
Brother.
All right. Now, good brothers, we are now going to hear from Brother Brian Beverly. Brother Brian Beverly, let's get his asset on the screen. And 1 second. And now, Brother Beverly, you have the floor.
Thank you, brothers, and greetings, brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. My name is Brother Brian Orlando Beverly, made 988 Psi Delta UNC Chapel Hill. And my aspiration is to become your next Grand Counselor. Brother DR Dow, thank you again for the opportunity. Brother First Vice Grand Lewis, I see you're on the call. Brother Grand Jackson, I see you're on the call, and I believe I saw Brother Grand KF Smith on the call. So greetings to all of you. Brothers, I'm an attorney. Obviously, the Office of Grand Counselor must be a licensed attorney. I've been practicing law for 26 years in private practice at my law firm, Young, Moore and Henderson, Raleigh, North Carolina. We're about 45 lawyers, not the biggest, not the smallest, but we make a big impact across the state. I'm a learned trial lawyer, member of the American Board of Trial Advocates, the American College of Trial Lawyers, and the International Society of Barristers. Brothers, my professional skills, I believe, make me uniquely suited to serve as your next Grand Counselor. I've been serving Omega and toiling in the vineyards for quite a while. I am a member of Beta Phi chapter in Durham, North Carolina, two-time Omega Man of the Year, Founders Award winner. I served as 6th District Counselor from 2006 to 2012. We have a 6-year term limit in the 6th, so I was unable to serve longer, but I was elected, thankfully, as the first Vice DR in the 6th following my service as counselor. And I served as a 6th District DR, where I served with your former DRs, Brother Fred Alexander and Brother James Walker, as we overlapped terms. Brothers, I have served 2 stints as the chairman of the Grand Tribunal. First from 2010 to 2012, Brother Grand Andrew Ray appointed me. And now again, I'm your current Grand Tribunal Chairman, Brother Grand, Dr. David Marion saw fit to reappoint me to chair the Grand Tribunal. I've also, brother, served as your Grand Parliamentarian at the 82nd Grand Conclave, which was a virtual conclave, as you know, and presented some unique challenges from a parliamentary perspective from being virtual. So brothers, I have vast experience in the fraternity. I do have Supreme Council experience already. I understand the challenges that DRs face and am capable to advise them through the legal pitfalls that face the Supreme Council and Omega's leadership. Brothers, I will say lastly that my practice, I believe, uniquely qualifies me for the Grand Counselor role. Frankly, Omega Psi-Phi is a multi-million-dollar multinational corporation. I advise those clients, they comprise my list of clients. I advise them day in and day out on risk management strategies designed to maintain a healthy bottom line and to avoid malfeasance and things that get us into trouble through foresight and risk management strategies. Brothers, I am again a candidate for the office of Grand Counselor. I seek your support. I ask for your vote. And I have several ideas that I believe would benefit the fraternity and continue the excellent work that has been transpiring by the current legal team. So I look forward to answering any questions, and I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you.
Thank you very much, Brother Beverly, for that statement. All right, brothers. Right now, we are going to hear from Brother Clement Osemetha, Brother Osmosis. Can we get his asset up on the screen? 1 second, Brother Osmosis. All right, Brother Osemetha, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Brother Bufkin. I greatly appreciate it. Greetings, brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. Please pardon me for skipping the customary salutations due to time constraints, because I understand we're limited to 2 minutes. My goal for this office is to preserve Omega for future generations. My name is Clement Osemetha, also known as Osmosis, Spring 88 New Beta chapter, currently a Theta Alpha chapter in Dallas, Texas. Life member 7621. Brothers, all 4 of us, as you will hear and you've already heard, running for this position, have served Omega in various capacities. In my case, at the chapter level, the district level, and at the national level as your 31st Second Vice Grand Basileus, as the National Chair of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, and as a member of the National Membership Intake Committee. In fact, brothers, I'm the only one of the 4 of us who received a Centennial Award for service to Omega during the Centennial Conclave in Washington, D.C. Also, as you know, we're all attorneys, and it's already been mentioned, licensed to practice law because our bylaws require it. We all have professional credentials. In my case, having been a trial lawyer and handled cases in both state and federal courts, and worked for global companies as vice president and general counsel. And another, as a global company I worked for, I was vice president and chief compliance officer, helping the global company put compliance measures in place to reduce risk and protect the global company from compliance exposures. Brothers, that is a critical difference. I'm the only trained and certified compliance practitioner in this race. It's important, brothers. I think the Grand Basileus was asked the question, or in his presentation in your district meeting earlier this year, he responded and said that compliance issues that we have are the #1 threat to Omega today, given where the fraternity is today. I check every box for the qualifications we need for this position today. As you can see from my campaign flyer, we can't afford to remain status quo, given the improvements Omega have made and what our leaders have identified as the top threat to the fraternity. I hope to have the opportunity to expound on my qualifications for the position during the Q&As, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Brother Osimitha. Thank you for the correction on the pronunciation. I appreciate that. Thank you for your statement. And now, good brothers, we will hear from Brother Bertrand Harry. Brother Harry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Good afternoon, brothers of the Massive and Progressive 12th District. My name is Brother Bertrand Harry, 1 Delta 592. I come before you to seek the office, your vote for the position of Grand Counselor. Brothers, you've heard a lot of great credentials from my fellow candidates, and they're all stellar. Brothers, I've been an attorney since 1993. I practice in the area of insurance defense, and I'm also a personal injury lawyer. Out of the past 23 years, I have been a second district counselor for 17 of those years, and I just ended my last term in May. I'm also a member of the International Risk Management Team, which I have been for the past several years. And I've assisted with a lot of the issues with regard to risk management, so I'm familiar with the things that are going on in the fraternity. I'm going to go back to my 17 years, and I think that's important. I've been on the front line defending Omega for 17 out of the past 23 years. I know my client intimately. And one thing about a lawyer is if you don't know your client, then you don't really know what strategies to develop for her or him. And what I do know about Omega, I know everything that is a strength, and I know everything that's a weakness. If you talk to brothers in the second district, you'll find out that I've saved this fraternity hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in lawsuits because I've been proactive in the way I approach my position as a district counselor. And what I hope to do is to take that same level of commitment and dedication to the international level, because I know I am capable of doing the same things that I've done in the second district and bring it along to international. Brothers, we talk about things that need to be done in Omega. Brothers, I've been thinking about that a long and hard time, and I've implemented things that I've also transmitted to the international headquarters, and they've also utilized some of my ideas. It's almost impossible for brothers to get to know me within the 2-minute span of time that I have in order to present my platform, but my platform is the firm. Fierce, protective Omega and its brands. Independent, our brothers, I report to the brotherhood. I'll tell you what's going on. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be available. Respected. Brothers, I've been, like I said, a district counsel for 17 years. And many of those times I've been appointed, I've been asked to come back to serve as district counsel by district representatives. Not because I wanted to run for office, but because brothers saw that I was competent, I was trustworthy, and that I could get the job done. And lastly, mindful. Mindful is very important because, brothers, this is an organization. We understand that. It's a multi-million-dollar organization. However, it's a unique organization. It's a unique organization in that it consists of brothers. It's a brotherhood. It's a fraternity. It's a men of like ideals. So when we have to make decisions, especially as a district counselor, I believe you have to temper justice with mercy. You have to understand that brothers put a lot into becoming members of this fraternity. And, when you're being approached to suspend them or expel them and things like that, you have to understand that, and you have to keep that in mind. Not saying that you have to be soft on anyone, but because you have to send a message across that certain things will not be tolerated in Omega, and that touches on the compliance issue that Brother Osimitha touched upon. Brothers, I've only been a counselor for this fraternity. That's the only position that I run for. I've never been a DR, never been anything else, because I understand where my skills are best suited and where my skills are best valued. That is being your attorney. And brothers, I hope and pray that you support me for the position of Grand Counselor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Harry, for that statement. Brothers, now that we have heard the platform statement for all 4 of the candidates for the office of Grand Counselor, we're now going to open up the floor to questions from the Brotherhood of the 12th. Okay, so as we said, we need you to raise your virtual hand so that you can be identified if you have a question for one of the candidates. You raise your hand. Once you have been identified and we call you, recognize you to ask your question, please state your name, state your chapter and state which candidate to which your question is directed to, and then you'll be able to state your question. Okay. Again, no compound questions, no questions. This is for every candidate or anything like that. So at this time, we want to look and see if there are any questions from the floor. And Brother Carlos Barlow is going to be looking at this. Brother Barlow, are there any questions from the floor?
I'm not seeing any questions, brother.
I do believe I see one question from Brother Maurice Manson.
Excuse me. Yeah, I do see a question for Brother Maurice Manson. Sorry about that, Brother Manson.
All right, Brother Manson, you have the floor.
Brother Maurice Mansion, Tata, Compton, California. I have a question for Brother Bertrand Harry. You said you've been the Grand Council for the 2nd District for 17 years, and some of your programs have been implemented on the national level. Can you name 2 programs that have been implemented that you're most proud of? Thank you, my good brother.
Certainly, my brother. Brothers, you recall that there was once a situation where we had a moratorium on events a couple years ago. I was contacted by the Grand Counselor and by the Grand Boss List to develop a way where chapters could have events. And what I did was I basically told them, we could have the chapters get event insurance and have Omega Psi Phi named as an additional insured on a primary non-contributory basis. That is the one thing that will protect both the fraternity and the chapters, and it would also protect the chapters such that it would any liability would not get to the international policy unless it's in excess of $1 million. I think that the next item that I can think of is, and I think it's going to be implemented now, it's Title IX, getting our young brothers, especially undergraduates, involved and knowledgeable about Title IX, because they're going to be facing those issues in school. Some of the hop shows that brothers do and sometimes offensive terms that they use can be considered sexual harassment, but they need to be educated on that. And that's, I believe, is going to be rolled out pretty shortly. So those are the 2 things I can think off the top of my head. There's quite a few more, but those are the 2 things that I think are, to me, most impactful.
Thank you very much for that answer, Brother Harry. Are there any further questions? First of all, I have to say all the opening statements, you brothers were very, very thorough. So it doesn't surprise me that it's not a lot of questions. Are there any other questions for the candidates?
Brother Maurice Manson has a question.
Okay, we'll take that question. Again, candidates, just please be mindful. Your answers need to be within 1 minute. We want to make sure that enough brothers get an opportunity to answer those questions. Brother Manson, you have the floor.
Brother Maurice Mansion, Tata, Compton, California, once again, and thank you, brothers. Don't want to hog the floor, but I'll ask until other brothers step up. This question is for Brother Warren. You said you've been in your post for 23 years. My number 1 question to you is why now? What makes you effective now? Thank you, my brother.
Thank you for that question, Brother Mansion. I have actually been in district council for 12 years and served as first vice DR for 3 and DR for 3. So currently I've been working on the international level as risk management vice chairman, assistant to the Grand Counselor, and deputy inspector general for 3 years. For me, I've always served Omega for 41 years. If you look at my resume, whatever I'm called upon to do, I think that at this point in my career, my professional career, I'm at a point where I'm starting to throttle down a little bit professionally. And the one thing that I know about this position, it takes a lot of time. Omega's issues sometimes are relentless. And the Grand Boss List, this current Grand Boss List, has an active mind. So as he talks about taking things to the next level, there are constantly calls coming in, there are calls coming from the international headquarters. So I'm at a point in my life where I have the time, I have the ability, I have the desire, and I have the interest. Previously, I was doing other things at Omega, so obviously I couldn't be Grand Counselor and be DR or be bosses of chapter. So, but yeah, I think this time is right for me professionally and personally.
Thank you very much for that response, Brother Warren. All right, Brother Barlow, are there any further questions from the floor? All right.
I'm not seeing any. Oh, Brother Mansion.
Okay. All right, now, Brother Manson, now, but I know what you're saying until somebody hogs up. This is going to be the last question that we're going to take at this time. So, Brother Manson, this last question, please. You have the floor.
This is for Brother Osmosis. You said you are a compliance, I'll call you an expert, basically expert in the area. Can you name the #1 compliance issue you see with the fraternity, even though Brother Grant has talked about compliance, but what do you see as the #1 compliance issue you'd like to attack?
Thank you so much for the question. Not only am I a compliance expert, I was trained and certified in compliance in addition to my other qualifications. But very quickly, I echo the sentiment of the Grand Basileus. It's the failure to adhere to our policies and procedures that we see. And those are issues we've dealt with for decades in the fraternity. And you know that, Brother Mansion. So the Grand Basileus is not saying something unique or new. It's an issue we've dealt with. However, it's become highlighted given the legal landscape that we have today. Make no mistake about it. The advancement that Omega has made over the years, it's critical now that we focus on that issue. And I am the only one with the certification and the qualification to come in and do proactive programs for the fraternity. And hopefully I'll get the opportunity to expound on what those programs are going forward. Okay. And that's, hopefully that answers your question, Brother Max.
Thank you so much, Brother Osimitha. Appreciate that answer. All right, brothers, that will conclude the question and answer segment for the office of the candidates for the office of Grand Counselor. At this time, what we're going to do is we're going to hear closing statements from each of those particular candidates. All right. And so what we'll do is we'll begin with the closing statement from Brother Rob Warren. Brother Warren, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin, and thank you, brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District, for your time today. Brothers, it's hard to encapsulate 41 years of Omega life and 35 years of practice into a minute, but I will restate the fact that, brothers, I'm currently involved in the day-to-day issues of Omega legally, giving advice to our Grand Basileus, giving advice to our Grand Counselor, giving advice to our Executive Director, various DRs. So I'm intimately familiar with the issues, and I do have specific ideas and plans for how to address those continuing problems that tend to plague us. And again, brothers, I will continue to provide that experienced, balanced legal counsel. I'll continue to make sure our brothers are trained on the special events checklist form and other risk management issues. Again, I will put Omega first in all that I do. So I have no problem giving unpopular advice, whether it's to a Supreme Council member, a Grand Basileus, Chapter Basileus, or DR. And brothers, most importantly, I'm going to put Omega first in everything that I do. And I ask brothers, if you look at my tenure of 41 years in Omega from the day, March 21st, 1980 to today, let the work that I've done for Omega speak for me. I humbly ask for your vote and support. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you very much, Brother Warren, for that statement. And now we will hear a 1-minute closing statement from Brother Brian Beverly. Brother Beverly, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Very briefly, brothers, let me offer one idea that I have if I achieve if I'm elected as your Grand Counselor. I want to bring or study, I don't know if we can do this, I want to study bringing an actuarial approach to our insurance program. We now have a captive insurance company. I'm hopeful we move forward and underwrite all of our insurance, but consider this, brothers. Most of us have car insurance. You know what happens when you have accidents? Your premium goes up. If you're a clean driver, your premium stays low. I want to examine ways to apply that to chapters and to districts. We should be charging more for the chapters who get us into trouble consistently and less to the districts and chapters who don't. Briefly, 3 more quick points, brothers. One, I have advised Fortune 500 companies day in and day out. They form my client base. Omega is one of those. Well, not a Fortune 500, but it's a multi-million-dollar multinational corporation. So my practice aligns neatly with the Office of Grand Counselor, who's the chief legal officer of the fraternity. Thirdly, Brother Bufkin, thank you for your work in putting this together. Your advice on logistics was great. And lastly, brothers, I ask for your vote. I ask for your vote. Brothers of the Massive and Progressive, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Beverly, for that statement. And now, good brothers, we will hear a closing statement from Brother Clement Osimitha. Brother Osimitha, Brother Osmosis, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. In closing, brothers, in addition to the fact that I am the only recipient in the race with a Centennial Award for service to Omega, I'm the only trained and certified compliance practitioner. I repeat that again. Why is that important, you ask? It is extremely important because it goes directly to the core of the issue that we have struggled with in Omega for decades, and the sole issue that we must, with emphasis on must, address proactively, given where Omega is today. We've talked about compliance for decades. We've had some of the brightest lawyers in the role of Grand Counselor and have done enforcement well. And we've written all sorts of policies and procedures. Brothers, what we have never had, at least in my 33 years in the fraternity, is someone who had the experience and the training as a compliance attorney to serve as Grand Counselor, to help us address the compliance challenges that we've had. You won't want to go to a foot doctor when you have a toothache. You want to go to a dentist. Please give me the opportunity to help put structure around our policies and procedures and processes to reduce risk and exposure to Omega. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Brother Osimitha. Now, brothers, last but certainly not least, we will hear a closing statement from Brother Bertrand Harry. Brother Harry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Brothers, there's a saying by Dr. Martin Luther King: the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Brothers, I challenge you to do this. When you're looking for a lawyer, one thing you do is you depend on word of mouth. I challenge you to ask brothers in the 2nd District, my reputation as a district counselor for 17 out of the past 23 years, and ask them how hard I fight for Omega, and ask them what I've done to make sure Omega was protected. But I guarantee you, you will find out that I've done a lot that I cannot even say here today. And hopefully I'll be able to visit with each and every one of you and articulate that. Brothers, I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your consideration as being your next Grand Counselor. Brothers, I will be transparent. I will be available. You all have my number. So if you have a question, you can call me. Brothers, I look forward to seeing you in Charlotte. Hopefully I'll see you again very soon in another format other than the this type format we have today, and we can speak about my plans and my hopes for the future. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you very much, Brother Harry. And that will conclude the segment that we have for the the candidates for the office of Grand Counselor. I want to wish all of you, candidates, the absolute best of luck in the pursuit of the office for which you're running for, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Also, to the Brotherhood, I want to let you know that all of the assets that you've been seeing on the screen, the materials that the candidates have provided, that information will be made available to you either through the 12th District website or the DKRS will be sending that out. So you will have access to it. Okay, with that said, we're going to move on to the office of the Grand Keeper of Finance. And at present, we're going to have one candidate, which is the incumbent, which is Brother Grand Johnny Smith, who is with us today. So we're pleased to have him. And right now we're going to ask Brother Smith to give us his platform statement. So, Brother Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Betsy. First, I want to acknowledge our first vice grand bosses, Brother Ricky Lewis, and our Grand Keeper of Records and Seals, Brother Mark Jackson, and your own DR, Brother Dow. Brother, my name is Brother Johnny Smith, Spring 85, Omicron Epsilon Chapter of Omega's Bethune-Cookman University. Brothers, I celebrate today 1 year and 1 week in the position of Grand Keeper of Finance. I've logged over 2,002 hours in serving this fraternity in that 1 year and 1 week. That's 78 hours short of a full-time position. You see, this position and all grand officers must be able to serve. You must be able to put in the time. But let me just share 3 quick things with you in my accomplishment in that 1 year and 7 days. First, when I came in office, I promised that within 90 days, I would purchase QuickBooks for all districts and have all districts operating on the same accounting platform. I'm happy to tell you, October 1st, I purchased QuickBooks for all 12 districts. I accomplished that goal. The second goal I had, we had over 400 chapters. Either their chapters were revoked or did not have an EIN number. I implemented a program, attained 5 CPAs within our fraternity, and established a committee. And we have done over 15 classes and it's ongoing in reinstating EIN numbers and getting EIN numbers for chapters that do not have EIN numbers. We're well over 100 chapters right now. We either reinstated or they receive EIN numbers so we can get them back in good standing with the IRS. And lastly, brothers, when I came into this position, July 17, 2020, we had $8.6 million in the bank and investments. I'm happy to tell you, it's closed a day of 5 o'clock yesterday, July 23rd, 2021, 11.8 million. That's a $3.2 million turnaround in 1 year, my brothers. As I told you, I will continue to diversify our balance sheet and increase our revenue. And brothers, I ask you for your vote and your support, and I thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Grant Smith, for that statement. Pleased to have you with us. Now, brothers of the 12th, we are going to open up the floor for questions. We've got a grand officer here who is running for re-election, and I'm certain that there may be questions for him. So, as I had stated earlier, we'd like for you to raise your virtual hand if you have a question for the Grand, and you will be identified. We ask you to state your name and the chapter from which you are you're with, and then state your question. And Brother Grant Smith, if we could limit the time for the answers for the questions to 1 minute per answer. I know we're saying we've only got you here, but still, I want to open it up and give everybody an opportunity. Okay. All right. So now we're going to open up the floor to questions. Brother Carlos Barlow, are there any questions that we see from the Brotherhood?
I'm not seeing no question.
Oh, that is a surprise. Usually when the money man is up and somebody's got a question, somebody wants to know where the money is. No, but that may be due to the thoroughness of the statement. All right, we're seeing none. Questions going once, going twice, 3 times, no questions. Excellent, excellent. That's a credit to your statement. Well, look, Brother Grant Smith, what we want to do now is give you an opportunity to tie it all up in a closing statement for the brothers of the 12th. Can you do that?
Yes, I can. I'll be very brief in my comments. Brothers, I come before you actually once again for your vote. I'll be very brief, actually for your vote, your prayers, and your support. And God bless the 12th District. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brother Grant Smith. All right, good brothers. With that said, we are now going to move on to the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. One of the things I do want to remind you when we get to the question and answer segment, it occurred to me, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to raise your virtual hand. It should be something at the lower part of your screen. There's an option for you to raise your hand. If you click on that hand down there, that'll bring it up and we'll recognize you for a question. Okay. All right. Now, for the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, we have 3 candidates with us, I believe, on the call. And each of these candidates is now going to give us their platform statements. Candidates, we again want to remind you of the platform statement. Please limit that to 2 minutes. And we will start with Brother Sherman Charles. If we can get him together, Brother Charles.
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, we've got you. Brother Charles, you have the floor.
To the current grand officers, to the current and former district representatives, to the brothers of the formidable 12th District, good afternoon. My name is Brother Sherman Charles. I am the 2nd District endorsed candidate for the position of Grand KRS. My tag is 1 Bloody Road Theta, Spring 78, Prairie View A&M University. I'm a member of Lambda Gamma Gamma chapter, Fort Meade, Maryland. I've served in the 2nd, 9th, and the 13th districts. My experience as a KRS consists of serving as a KRS as an undergraduate for 3 years at Rho Theta chapter and as a graduate KRS for Lambda Xi chapter in Seoul, Korea. My international experience consists of Deputy Grand Marshal for the Centennial Grand Conclave, as the 35th 2nd District Representative on the Supreme Council, and as a member of the International Achievement Week and Reclamation Committees. My professional experience and education consists of a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Science in Acquisition Management, and a Master's Certificate in Music Business from Berklee College of Music. I'm also Level 3 certified in Project Management, Systems Planning, Research, Development, and Engineering, and Information Technology. I have 43 years of fraternal leadership and experience, 39 years of IT experience. My campaign theme is excellence in administration with innovation. We have developed a strategic plan with a vision, goals, and objectives that align with the Grand Boss's strategic plan and next level direction. Our plan also has transition goals for the first 90 days. In other words, we know what we want to accomplish within the first 90 days. My brothers, I have the experience, the energy, the enthusiasm, the knowledge, and the wisdom to serve this great fraternity at a level of excellence. Also, I'm retired. This concludes my 2 minutes. I yield back my time.
Thank you very much, Brother Charles, for that statement. All right, brothers, our next candidate we'll hear from is Brother James Sistrunk. Brother James Sistrunk. Get his asset up on the screen. Excellent. Brother Sistrunk, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Good afternoon to the brothers of the 12th District. I am Brother James Sistrunk. My tag is number 4, Spring 1984, Ada Chapter, Alcorn State University. Currently a member of Kappa Alpha Alpha Chapter, Decatur, Georgia, life member 3585. I come to you seeking the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, which is the Chief Administrative Office of our fraternity at the 22 Grand Conclave in Charlotte. I will be the key to your records with years of experience as a former 4-term Keeper of Records and Seal for the state of Georgia, the largest state within the 7th District. Also served 4 years as a 7th District Keeper of Records and Seal. I have a proven track record of leadership, serving as Chapter Bossless, 1st Vice State Representative, the 14th Georgia State Representative, the 1st Vice District Representative, and the 23rd immediate past 7th District Representative. Serving on different committees and elected positions has provided me the skills to follow and lead while helping Omega move forward. I am seeking the awesome responsibility of keeping Omega's records in order as being directed by the tenets of the duties of the office, following the guidance of the Grand Bossless and building a collaborative rapport with the district's Keeper of Records and Seal, Technology Committee, officers of the Supreme Council, and the IHQ staff. I stand to let my record speak for itself as being a dedicated, determined, and dependable key resource to ensure that our records are well documented into the 2nd century. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to announce my candidacy, and I greatly solicit the support of the brothers of the 12th District as we get ready to move towards Charlotte. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking with you again. I yield my time.
Thank you very much, Brother Sistrunk, for that statement. Now, brothers, we are now going to hear from Brother Derek Ivory. Brother Ivory, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. First, my tag is 5 Omicron Theta 1991. My name is Derek Deke Ivory. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Almighty God, the Supreme Bosses of the universe. Brothers, I bring you greetings from the brothers from the 10th District. And I also bring you greetings from my family, who I serve every day to be a great husband and father to. I'm a poor Black kid from East St. Louis who seeks your support for the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. Brothers, I've led on every level in the fraternity. As an undergraduate, In the chapter of Omicron Theta chapter, I was the bossless and keeper of records and seal. On the graduate level in Taub Salon chapter, I was the bossless, keeper of records and seals, and keeper of finance. In New Chi chapter, my current chapter, I've been the bossless two separate terms, and I've also been the keeper of records and seals and keeper of finance before. But I've received numerous awards on behalf of the fraternity, up to International Omega Man of the Year. My life member number is 3954. In corporate America, I currently serve as a manager of project development for a region that consists of 7 states. I'm consistently working in 7 states, understanding how to put power plants together and how to manage power plants. But that does not limit me to my technical knowledge. I'm also very versed in the technical aspects of the job of keeper of records and seal. I served in the district on the IT team to make sure I understood the inner workings of the technology of the district. Brothers, I tell you today that if elected and if I receive your support, that I will be a day one ready candidate. I currently, on a daily basis, interact with IHQ on issues of the fraternity. I understand the inner workings of the organization because I visit there quarterly to understand the transitions and the changes in the organization. I also have a 60, 90, and 120-day plan for the development of the position. Brothers, thank you for this time. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Derek Deke Ivory.
Thank you, Brother Ivory, for that statement. All right, brothers. Now we're going to move to the question section of it, where we're going to open the floor to the brotherhood. I'm sure there are questions for the candidates for the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. And so at this time, we're going to open up that floor. Again, raise your virtual hand so that we can identify you. And then I need you to state your name, your chapter, and exactly which candidate that you're directing your question toward. Okay. All right. With that said, Brother Carlos Barlow, are there any questions from the floor?
I'm not seeing any questions. Brian Beverly, your hand was raised earlier. Did you still have a question?
Actually, I am seeing a question from Brother Jimmy Webster. Brother Webster, you have the floor. Can we unmute Brother Jimmy Webster, please? There we go.
Brother Jimmy Webster, Kai Nu, Fresno, California, for Sherman Charles. Question. Brother Charles, you mentioned that you had a 90-day ready transition plan. Can you just talk about your top priority that you're going to be focusing on that transition plan? Gathered that you may have 1 to 10 items. Just what's your number 1 item that you're going to be focused on, or that's in your transition plan?
I'll give you 5 since I have a minute. Since I have a strategic plan, I want to transition from the outgoing Grand KRS to myself, complete the conclave minutes, establish a communications battle room with the district KRSs and executive director, get all the credentials out, including the badge, service awards, and oracles to all the brothers, and again, activate the strategic plan and make sure that those minutes get out to the brothers within those first 90 days. So those are some items that I have within the first 90 days.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that answer. I'm looking, are there any more questions from the floor? Brother Barlow?
Yeah, I see one question. I'm trying to see 2 questions.
Okay.
I'm trying to identify. Brother Jeffrey Douglas.
Okay, Brother Douglas, you have the floor.
Greetings, brothers. This is Brother Jeffrey Douglas, Epsilon Xi chapter. I have a question for Brother James Seastrup. Brother Seastrup, quick question. I wanted to know, how will you work with the district KRS to ensure that we continue to capture the brothers that enter Omega chapter and make sure that they're filed at the national level?
Brother, that's a great question there. The work to do with the chapter KRS or the district KRS is to continue to have a monthly meeting with them. And during those meetings there, I would look to address the issues with the Omega chapter brothers going on to Omega chapter to make sure that we're capturing that data and pushing that information down to the chapters so that they will report back up through the portal. If that's the case, I have to go back and look at the current situation, but there should be an option in there to move a brother from active role to the Omega chapter role, just to make sure that is in order there. And it all goes back to just making sure we got a good grasp on talking with the chapter chaplains in Basili to ensure that they're updating that information in a timely manner.
Thank you so much for that answer. Excellent. Now, Brother Barlow, are there any other questions from the floor?
Yes, Brother Michael Brown.
Brother Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin and Brother Webster. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I just want to thank everybody that's been on this candidates forum, and especially those that have been going on the international prayer call, hearing Johnny Smith and Brother Harry. These brothers on the prayer call is certainly welcome. I invite more of you. The question I have for the district, the Grand Keeper of Records and Seals, Brother Derek Ivory in the 10th District. I know that Brother Johnny Smith mentioned that QuickBooks were purchased for each district keeper of finance. Are there any software tools that you see that can help each district keeper of records and seals that would be an asset across the land of Omega, and that could also be utilized by each chapter?
So a great question, Brother Brown, and also prayer call. I'm on there every morning, Brother Brown, and it is a great thing that we do every morning. But I would say in my 60, 90-day and 120-day plan, Brother Brown, I talked to how we provide technical support to the chapters and also to 50-year brothers. So I believe more than just having to reach out to the district keeper records and seals for technical support, we should start having webinars where we're training the chapters on baseline technical aspects of the fraternity. There are some things that each chapter needs to be doing the same technically. I don't know if we necessarily need a software to pull that off as much as we need the brotherhoods that are the technical team from the international headquarters to start providing those trainings for the chapter KRS or the district KRS, so we can all be aligned long-term technically. We don't want the grand KRS and the district KRS to be also tech savvy, and then the chapters, or we lose focus on the chapters and or the 50-year brothers. Hopefully that answers your question, sir.
Thank you very, very, very much for that answer, Brother Ivory. All right, brothers, that concludes the question and answer segment for the candidates for the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. What we're going to do now is allow each candidate to give a closing statement. Candidates are reminded to keep the statement limited to 1 minute in time, and we're going to start with Brother Sherman Charles. Brother Charles, you have the floor.
Thank you, my brother. In closing, I want your friendship, your support, your vote, and your interaction. Please review my body of work, as I was a 6-time chapter Omega Man of the Year, a 2-time District Omega Man of the Year, and I received the International Founders Award for Lifelong Service in 2012 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Our team has the reach across all districts, both military and civilian. Again, our campaign theme is excellence in administration with innovation. Please vote Shorty Bang Bang for Grand KRS, the man with strategic plan. I am retired as of 30 June, so I have the time to do the job of Omega. That concludes my presentation. I yield back my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Charles, for that statement. And now we'll hear from Brother James Sistrunk. Brother Sistrunk, your closing statement, you have the floor.
In closing, my good brothers of the 12th District, again, my name is Brother James Sistrunk, Spring 84, Ada Chapter, Alcorn State University. I come with a simple game plan, is just basically let's look at enhancing what we've already begun. We have a new software in place for the district, for the Grand Keeper of Records and Seal, and we just have to continue to enhance and to improve what we have today. I know that there were many data sets that were dropped off with the merger of the new system coming on board. But the plan is to just make sure that we are going out and asking the right questions of the brothers to ensure that we are meeting their expectations first and foremost. Being dedicated, determined, and dependable, I am your key to making sure that we have accurate record keeping as we continue to move forward within our second district. And good brothers, I ask for your support in my endeavors to be your next Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that statement, Brother Sistrunk. And now, last but certainly not least, we'll hear from Brother Derek Deke Ivory. Brother Ivory, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Once again, brothers, my name is Derek Deke Ivory. I pride myself on hard work on every level in the fraternity and every level in business. I work tirelessly at work and I work tirelessly for Omega. I've served as on every level in the fraternity. I pride myself on being timely and holding people accountable for the jobs they serve. I am well suited day one to serve as your Grand Keeper of Records and Seals. Brother, and I'll leave you with this last point. I am day one ready. I will not be going in looking for problems. I will be going in day one with a vision to drive for solutions. Thank you for your time this day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Ivory, for that statement. And now, brothers, that will conclude the segment for the candidates for the office of Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. We want to thank you, candidates, for joining us and spending the time. Wishing you all the best of luck in your endeavor to become elected for this office. Appreciate you sharing your vision. And now, brothers, moving on up the ladder, we get to the candidates for the office of First Vice Grand Bossless. And for this office, we have two candidates who will be speaking to us today. And we will hear platform statements from each. And we will begin with Brother Grand Mark Jackson, who is currently our Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. So Brother Grand Jackson, you have the floor. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
There we go. There you go. We hear you now.
All right. Good afternoon, brothers. Mark Jackson here, 288 Delta Theta. To the grand officers, Brother Bufkin, DR Dow, and to whom all honors due. I'm here before you to ask for your support, but most importantly, your vote to become your next First Vice Grand Bossless. I'm no stranger to you, so I'm going to get right to it. You take a chance on a new flavor of ice cream, but you don't take a chance on someone who has not been vetted and tested to serve as the First Vice Grand Bossless. I've been vetted and tested by you, and when I served as Bossless and Vice Bossless of Alpha Omega. I've been tested and vetted by you when I served as Second Vice Grand Bossless. I've been vetted and tested by you when I served as First Vice DR and 3 terms DR of the 3rd District. I was tested and vetted by you when I served as Deputy Grand Marshal for the Centennial. I've definitely been vetted and tested while serving in the 2 terms as your Grand Keeper of Records and Seal. Brothers, I submit to you that this is not a time for on-the-job training. You need someone who has leadership, vision, execution, but more importantly, experience to sit beside the Grand Bossless. I am that person for the job. The First Vice Grand Bossless, his job is to manage committees primarily, plan the leadership conference, and work the strategic plan. If you look at my bio there, I bring all of the skill sets to do just that. Manage committees. I managed committees when I was Vice Bossless of Alpha Omega and as First Vice DR of the 3rd District. Leadership conference. I've been DR where I've had to plan 3 district meetings. I was the Deputy Grand Marshal for the Centennial where I was in every aspect of the planning of the Centennial. And so I bring forward that skill set that hopefully will be crucial in serving in that role. Again, I ask for your support, but most importantly, your vote to become your next First Vice Grand Bossless. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Grant Jackson, for that statement. We appreciate that. Now, next, brothers, we will hear from Brother Claude Tolbert. Brother Tolbert is going to be giving us his platform statement. We're going to get his asset up on the screen. And here we go. Brother Tolbert, you have the floor.
Greetings, brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. I would like to acknowledge and pay respect to our grand officers, members of the Supreme Council, and district officers. And a very special thank you to Brother D.R. Dow and to you, my brothers, for this opportunity to address you. I am Claude Tolbert, 392 Gamma Chapter, life member number 5239, Vice Chairman of your International Committee for Information Technology, and candidate for the office of First Vice Grand Basileus, endorsed by the formidable First District. I'm here today to ask for your support and your vote to elect Claude Tolbert, First Vice Grand Basileus, at our 83rd Grand Conclave, Charlotte, North Carolina. I am no stranger to the 12th District and take great pride in having served as Deputy Grand Marshal for the 80th Grand Conclave in Las Vegas. There, we set the pace and the record for registered brothers, and we also showed how massive and progressive the 12th was and continues to be. Omega's going next level, brothers. 30,000 financial members creating impact across the globe. Today, our First Vice Grand Basileus is responsible for more than 30 international committees, the Moses C. Norman C. Leadership Conference, and making our 41st Grand Basileus the most successful in our history. Brothers, I am committed to the success of our 42nd Grand Basileus. Our goals require the First Vice Grand Basileus to help Omega go next level, to embrace the changing landscape of technology, communication, and different ways of work. If I am to help take Omega next level as your First Vice Grand Basileus, I have to tell you where I've been. I was initiated into our beloved fraternity while at Harvard College, leading Gamma Chapter as its Basileus, being awarded District Scholar of the Year, and also serving on the District Council as Second Vice DR. My journey then brought me to the 12th, to the Stanford Graduate School of Business, where I earned my MBA. I have worked with the best companies and organizations across the world. We must take Omega next level while honoring protocol, but to embrace progressive leadership and technology. We must continue to invest in Omega's most critical assets, our brothers, our processes, and our infrastructure. My brothers, I'm Claude Tolbert, 392 Gamma Chapter, candidate for First Vice Grand Basileus of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Thank you very much, Brother Tolbert, for that statement. Well, brothers, right now we're back again at the question and answer segment. I want to remind you, please raise your virtual hand and you will be recognized. State your name and your chapter and to which candidate to whom you are directing your question. Now, with that said, our candidates, again, reminder, keep your answers to 1 minute. We want to see if we can get as many questions as we can. And with that said, we are going to open up the floor. Brother Barlow, are there any questions from the floor?
There's a question from Brother Manchin.
Okay. All right. Brother Manchin, you have the floor.
Thank you once again, my good brother, Brother Maurice Manchin, Tata, Compton, California. This question is for Brother Grant Jackson. Brother Grant Jackson, your resume is lengthy and quite praiseworthy. You've done a lot for Omega Psi Phi. Can you tell us the #1 issue you would like to work on with the next Grand Basileus that faces the fraternity at this moment?
Well, I have a lot of pet peeves, if you will, but as we know, the Grand Basileus runs the show. And so I've decided that whatever thing I would like to do, put that on the back burner because the Grand Basileus runs the show. He sets the direction. But I'm going to be nudging him all the way to take this thing to the next level. This next level was coined by this current administration, which I am a part of. And I'm asking brothers to keep the team in place. But if I had to pick one, it would be talent hunt. And it's just a bone of mine that we give our monies away to folks who are other than African American. And I've said in many talent hunt programs internationally, and it just burns me that we give our monies to folks who don't look like us. The Indians, they never gave us no scholarship. Our monies need to go to Black kids, you know, unapologetically Black kids. So if anything, that's one that's on my top list that I'll be nudging the Grand Basileus to make sure we put some rules in place that we give our money away to Black folk.
Time has expired.
Okay. Thank you very much, Grant Jackson, for that answer. Okay, it's time to get some meat and potatoes on the table here, I see. All right, are there, brothers, are there any other questions from the Brotherhood for the candidates for the office of First Vice Grand Basileus? Seeing no questions once. Nope, I think, all right, I see a question. All right, yes, we do. We do have a question from Brother Daryl Harris. Brother Harris, you have the floor. Can we unmute Brother Harris?
Yes.
There we go.
Can we hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Brother Harris, Data by Chapter. Question for Brother. Being that you're.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Your questions for whom?
Brother Tolbert.
Okay.
Being that you're the second in command, what main idea do you have that could improve current role of the first vice grand bosses? If
I heard your question correctly, it's how would I best serve our grand bosses as first vice grand boss? Is that correct, Brother Harris?
Yes.
Thank you for that question. The first thing is that I come with the working rapport with Brother Grand Lewis, having served as a deputy grand marshal alongside him for the 80th Grand Conclave in Las Vegas, serving him as a stakeholder currently as he serves as our first vice grand boss and manages more than 30 committees, of which the IT committee plays an integral role in helping them to create and deliver value on a continued basis. We start day one with making sure that his strategic vision is aligned across the board with committees, with infrastructure and technology and communication across the fraternity. We build upon that by then asking, with respect to our strategic plan, whether it's finance, membership, brand, or anything else, how do we move forward? Having periodic communications that fit the schedule and rhythm of the grand bosses, I think is critical, so that you have that ability to inform him and update him on everything that's going on with the committees that I am responsible for or would be responsible for as first vice grand bosses, making information consumable, making information accessible at his fingertips, being able to analyze.
Your time has expired.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Brother Tolbert, for that answer. All right, brothers, are there any more questions for the candidates for the office of First Vice Grand Basileus? Looking, going once, going twice. Great. Then the question and answer segment is closed for this office. Now, brothers, we are going to hear closing statements from the two candidates that we have for the office of First Vice Grand Basileus. Starting with Brother Grand Mark Jackson. Brother Jackson, you have the floor.
Brothers, it's quite simple. It's a reason we've never elected a First Vice Grand Basileus who has not at least served as a basileus of a graduate chapter. We've never elected a First Vice Grand Basileus who has not at least been a district representative. Why? Because you learn about Omega in those key leadership positions. I've served in both. This is not a time for on-the-job training. Again, you take a chance on a new flavor of ice cream, but you don't take a chance on someone who has not been vetted and tested at the highest levels. This is my third time serving on the Supreme Council, and I look forward to your support, your vote, at our 2022 Grand Conclave. Again, I bring you leadership, vision, execution, but most importantly, Omega experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Grand Jackson. Brother Grand Jackson, we appreciate that statement. And now we'll hear a closing statement for Brother Claude Tolbert. Brother Tolbert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Brothers, Omega is steeped in her traditions, and she's now being pulled forward by the winds of change. This week, Brother Grand Lewis led our international committees through an update on the work and accomplishments of those teams. Committee after committee cited its work with IT and its leadership in driving impact that Omega is creating. Reclamation and retention, Omega 1 million for HBCUs, MSP, undergraduate advisors, the list goes on and on. Even today, this very forum, we are assembled and connected by technology. The message is one of transformation. We're being told that it is no longer business as usual. With 30,000 members, we aim to be more massive, and the world mandates that we must progressive. And the brothers of the massive and progressive 12th district know exactly where I'm coming from. I am the best candidate to work with our 42nd Grand Bosses, to work across our international committees, our districts, our chapters as Omega goes next level. My brothers, I'm asking for your support, and I'm asking you to vote.
Time. Your time has
First Vice Grand Bosses.
Thank you very much, Brother Tolbert, for that statement. And brothers, that concludes the segment with the candidates for the office of First Vice Grand Basileus. And to the candidates, we wish you the absolute best of luck. It's obviously going to be a very hotly contested race, and we wish you both luck in your endeavors to be elected. And now, with that, brothers, we are moving on to the top office, to the office of Grand Basileus. And we have one candidate with us today who is currently serving as the first Vice Grand Basileus of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. It's the 12th District's own Brother Ricky Lewis, and he will be now giving us his platform statement. Brother Grand Lewis, thank you for joining us, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Buffett. Good afternoon, brothers. Brother Ricky Lewis, 1 New Mu, 1981, University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. And I humbly now serve as your first Vice Grand Boss. Brother Dow, thank you for this opportunity. It's good to come before the brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. Brother Buffett, thank you and your team for your hard work in putting this together. Brother of the 12th, I ask you for your vote. I need your vote. I need your support again. We rolled big when we got to New Orleans. We need the brothers in the 12th District roll big again when we get to Charlotte. You've seen my international skills already on display. 1996, Deputy Grand Marshal. 2013, Life Membership Chairman. 2016, Deputy Grand Marshal again. 2010 through 2018, Chairman of the Youth Leadership Conference, appointed by Brother Ray and Brother Grand Knox. And I was elected as your first Vice Grand Bosses in New Orleans. I got two things happen when I got elected. One, congratulations. Two, I feel sorry for you because you now have a leadership conference in Atlantic City that nobody wants, nobody coming to, and nobody thinks it's gonna be successful. With $128,000 in the hole, brother, when we left out, it was $2,000 on the plus side, left $18,000 with the second district. Outstanding success. Brothers, I need your help. I'm coming before you for your vote. I need your vote. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve you. I want to serve you again as our 42nd Grand Bosses. Brother Buffkin, thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Grand Lewis. All right, brothers. We have Brother Grand Lewis, who is now available to answer questions from the Brotherhood about his platform, about whatever it is that you may need to know from him. I'm sure and to be very honest, I know Brother Grand Lewis has touched with all of us, so we know a lot of it. But brothers, I am certain that there may be questions for the Grand. So the floor is now opened. Please raise your virtual hand. If you don't know where that is, that button should be at the bottom of the Zoom screen. It should be a little hand you click on. So brothers, if there's a question for Brother Grand Lewis, please raise your hand. Looking over. Any questions from the Brotherhood?
Here's one question, 3 questions. Brother Maurice Manchin.
Okay, we'll start with Brother Manchin. Please state your name, chapter, and ask your question, please. You have the floor.
Brother Maurice Manchin, once again, Tata, Compton, California. Brother Lewis, I'd like to start by saying thank you and congratulations. You were one of the first brothers I saw as a pledge back in 1984. You've taught me almost everything there is I know about Omega. What is going to be your one overarching theme once you become Grand Basileus? Thank you, my good brother.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Manchin. Fatherhood and mentoring. If we don't do nothing else as black men, we got to mentor these young black boys. That's going to be our legacy. When we all long gone to Omega chapter, that's going to be our legacy in this organization. We should be viewed as the premier mentoring organization in the world. Not the 100 Black Men, not Big Brother, Big Sister, not Delta Sigma Theta with the Embodied program, not the Kappa League. It should be the men of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We can turn things around in our community when we impact the lives of these young black boys and ask these fathers to be actively involved in their family's life. Brother Manchin, that's going to be the cornerstone that the Brotherhood allowed me to serve. It's going to be cornerstone of my administration is fatherhood and mentoring.
Thank you very much, Brother Grand Lewis, for that. Brother Barlow, are there any other questions?
Brother Jeffrey Douglas Jr.
Okay. Brother Douglas, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brother Bufkin. Brother Grand, just a quick question for you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your mentorship. I had a question, Brother Grand, on the Get Right program that was implemented by Dr. David Marion. I wanted to get your opinion on the Get Right program, and is it something that you foresee if you are elected as Grand Bosses as something that you will continue? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Douglas. Well, it's not really the Grand Boss's decision. It's the Supreme Council decision. About a month ago, the Supreme Council approved to bring it back again. So even if the Grand don't like it, it's the Supreme Council decision. If the Grand wants to do it, it's still a Supreme Council decision. So it's not really solely the decision of the Grand Bosses, Brother Douglas. It all lies on all of us around the table who've been elected, the DRs, the Grand Officers, the appointed officers, to make that decision, and the undergraduates. So it's really a decision of the Supreme Council, not the Grand Bosses.
Thank you very much, Brother Grand Lewis, for that. Looking at the
Brother James Breedlove.
Okay, Brother Breedlove, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, brother. Brother James Breedlove, Zeta Rho chapter. Brother Grand, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, Brother Breedlove. How you been?
I'm doing well, team. Doing well. I know, bro, me and you talked a lot about SWOT analysis and that kind of thing. And I think during this platform, they've talked about threats and strengths and weaknesses. Could you elaborate a little bit on the opportunities that you see emerging for Omega as an organization, and maybe internal and external opportunities that you see on the horizon?
Yeah, good question, Brother Breedlove. One is at 30,000. That's a good opportunity, but the drawback, we got 59,000 that's reclaimable. So we need to chip into that 59,000 and bring it on this side. It'd be ideal if we can get 50,000 financial brothers. So reclamation and retention is always one of the cornerstones for any Grand Boss. We got to grow our membership. Dr. Marion challenged us, and we stepped up to the challenge because of his visionary leadership going next level, and we pulled it off. But now 30,000 is now the floor, not the ceiling. So we got to go a little further. So that's going to really be an opportunity for us as well. Back to fatherhood and mentoring. We just had a mentoring session last Saturday, and we had one today. Big Brother and Big Sister was on the call. Regions Bank was on the call. All these folks want to come to Omega Psi Phi. They want us to put our work in, but they don't want to give us no capital for all the work that we're doing. They know, and we know, when you say mentoring around this world, people think of Omega Psi Phi. So we need to capitalize on that. All these millions of dollars these other organizations are getting for mentoring needs to come directly to us. We shouldn't be subcontracted out. We give them piddlings and money. You and I talk about this all the time, Brother Breedlove. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and we need to capitalize on it. And if the Brotherhood allow me to be Grand Boss of this, that's going to be priority number one, to get resources to continue this mentoring work that we're doing in our chapters.
Thank you, Brother Graham, for that answer. There are no more questions from the floor that we see. There was one typed in question, Brother Grant, if you'll just indulge us. This was from Brother Eldrin Jones. He says, Brother Grant, what is your fundraising goal for the office of Grand Bosselus?
Yeah, $22. I need every brother on the sound of my voice to donate $22. My theme is 22 for 2022. We're gonna need some money to travel. When I ran for first vice Grand Bosses, we spent $37,505. We got on the plane 57 times. But that's what you need when you're in the 12th district. You got to go to the East Coast, the 3rd, the 6th, the 9th, the 2nd, the 7th. That's where the votes are. So you got to go see the Brotherhood. I'm running unopposed, Brother Jones, but I'm not taking anything for granted. This is Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Anything can happen at the last minute. The last candidate we had from the 12th, who went to the 6th district, ironically in Raleigh, we thought we was gonna come back home with the championship belt. He came in 5th of 5. Dr. Adam McKee, we thought for sure he was gonna be the next Grand Bosselus. He got whacked. We thought John Scott for sure was gonna be the next Grand Bosselus. He got whacked. We're not gonna let this happen when we get to Charlotte, brother. We're gonna grind, we're gonna go all the way through the finish line. We're not taking anything for granted. We're gonna hustle all the way to the finish line. So we need brothers' help. We need money to get across the country to travel to make sure we can go see the Brotherhood. That's my plan. Brother Jones, and we're asking all brothers to donate $22. That's all we asking.
Thank you, Brother Graham, for that answer. And brothers, that will conclude the question and answer segment for the candidate for the office of Grand Basileus. So at this particular time, we are going to give Brother Grant Lewis opportunity to give a closing statement to the brotherhood. Brother Grant, you have the floor again.
Thank you, Brother Buffin. I appreciate you. Brother, the lights are not too bright and the stage is not too big. I'm ready to serve. I've been decent and in order in serving our 41st Grand Basileus. I did say my mission is to help Dr. David Murray to be the most productive and successful Grand Basileus we've ever had. When history is written, it's probably going to state exactly that. We've done an outstanding job on his administration. I've listened, I've learned, I've asked a lot of questions. I'm ready to go. I'm enthusiastic. I'm ready to seize on this opportunity of being your leader, being the face of this brand. I have been decent and in order, and I will continue to be decent and in order if you allow me to be your Grand Basileus. Brothers, I'm asking for your vote. I'm humbly asking for your vote. I need your vote. We need to mount up big time and go to Charlotte, and let's bring the championship belt back home to the 12th district for the first time in 40 years. Thank you, Brother Bufkin.
Thank you, Brother Graham, for that. We appreciate your time. Now, brothers of the 12th, we thank you so very much for joining us in this program. We hope that you found it to be informative, powerful, and relevant. I want to definitely thank the brothers of the Nominations Time and Place Committee for putting this thing together. They always did the best committee, I'm telling you, best committee in the district. And I definitely want to say a special thank you to the tech team led by Brother Sean Scott. Couldn't have done any of this without them. They were absolutely fantastic. Brother Grant Lewis, we want to wish you the absolute best of luck in your quest for the office of Grand Basileus. Our hopes and prayers are with you. All right, good brothers, that is going to conclude this program. And right now, we are going to hear some closing remarks from our 12th District Representative, Brother Kwame Dow.
My brothers, thank you for taking an opportunity this afternoon to join the 12th District International Candidates Forum. We appreciated the fact that you answered all the questions and you shared your vision for Omega today and beyond. Brother Reggie Bufkin, Rules Committee Chairman, thank you very much to you and your team for putting the forum on this afternoon. Brothers, as I mentioned before, this will be the first of, I hope to be many opportunities for you to share your vision for Omega and to engage the brothers in the massive progressive 12th district. Until we meet again, my brothers, please stay safe and enjoy your families. We'll talk soon. Peace.